This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothas Podcast. I'm Kyle, joined in person, finally, by my brother Keenan.
It's been an interesting last week or so. It's good to be home, it's good to be here, but it's also obviously under a little bit of unfortunate circumstances. Also, got bit by a dog, which is really cool, so I have stitches on my arm. It's been a nice week.
It's been a crazy trip for you, I would say. You got one story after another story after another story, and mixed in between all that, we've had an NFL Sunday last week, London NFL Sunday.
Yep.
We had some crazy endings, some crazy games. WNBA Finals started.
Oh, that one of the greatest finals games, honestly, of all time. I mean, in their short history. I mean, the Lynx came back from 15 down. It was the first time that's ever happened in a finals game.
So I did not realize.
So they came back from 15 down late in the fourth quarter. Courtney Williams, as Kyle said, was Dame Lil.
She looked like Dame Lillard. She looked like big game Dame, for sure. That girl, she's super tough. She's super tough. And Nafisa Collier straight up locked up Breanna Stewart. That was I guess we can get right into WNBA here.
Yeah.
She reminds me, just watching her, and really paying attention to her game over the last, I would say, month and a half, really, 2 months.
Yeah.
Her standing in the league and how she plays and how just like she's very in control, and then clearly, like we just said, lockdown defender. She seems to me to be the Kawhi Leonard of the WNBA.
Yeah, she has that, like, she's known for having that, like, very calming, very, like, nothing can rattle me demeanor, plus can play at an MVP level, play on anyone's level. She's been the best player of these entire playoffs. Defensive Player of the Year, second in MVP, leading her team to a team that no one expected to be in this position, leading them right now to be one up on a Liberty team that's been a juggernaut all season. So I definitely would agree with the Kawhi Leonard. She doesn't play the exact same, of course, but she can handle the ball better than you would expect for being a bigger girl, and taller girl, I should say. Typically, bigger girl means pretty thick, but she has a game.
A few different things.
No, okay, yeah, absolutely. But she's got game. She has mid-range game. She can pop out and hit a three. I love Nafisa Collier's game. She's one of my favorites, and yeah, no, I think Kawhi Leonard temperament definitely compares.
So not only the temperament though, but her standing in the league. So like if Asia
2018 Kawhi would be roughly around, yeah, I could say that.
So yeah, like if Asia and Breanna Stewart, if that is LeBron and Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Nafisa is that one who can, maybe she's not, her name's certainly not as big as Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart's got the UConn backing, and Asia's obviously very well known now with the 3 MVPs.
Yeah.
She seems to be the one that could just take them out at any moment. Like if this was the Aces, it wouldn't be crazy for I almost call them the T-Wolves, the Lynx, to be up 1-0 on the Aces either. So
not at all.
She seems like she could be like kind of like Kawhi, the boogeyman of the league, where maybe she's not as good as Breanna Stewart. I think she is. Maybe she's not as good as A'ja Wilson, but on a given night in a given series, she can absolutely play up to their level.
Yeah.
And that's how she reminds me of Kawhi from what I've seen so far. I'm a fan of her game though.
I would agree with that 100%. I think she can absolutely on any level, on any day, compete with whomever, whenever. It doesn't matter on who it is. If it's Asia, which is Breanna, if it's Caitlin, if it's Sabrina. I mean, obviously those are just all the great players in the league. Doesn't matter who it is. She's gonna compete and she's gonna come to play. And that Minnesota Lynx team, they've got pieces, and they can make this truly a series.
They seem to be a deep team.
They do. They got
well-balanced team.
Bridget Carlton can shoot. Alana Smith plays very good defense. We saw what Courtney Williams is capable of. She's a great point guard, and she can close the game. You've got Nafisa. Kayla McBride had her best shooting season. So, like, they have a legitimate 5 there, and plus they have some veteran bench pieces to go along. I mean, and you need it if you're going to compete with 2 former MVPs in Breanna Stewart and Jonquel Jones. Sabrina, who...
No, Jonquel.
John
For the Liberty?
I want to say yes. I actually cannot remember. Wait, no, it was for I believe it was for the Sun. I don't know why I'm forgetting where she had her MVP, but she's I'm forgetting where she had her MVP, but she's a former MVP. Breanna Stewart, 2-time MVP. Sabrina Ionescu, who is widely known in the league and is a borderline top 5 player in the league. So like they've got all the talent in the world, plus their roster. Lainey Hamilton goes on. Phoebus, who's been one of the best rookies this year, so they're great. But if the Lynx do this, they're on a run, and they deserve it.
We've talked. I don't really, for no reason really, I don't really care for Breanna Stewart. That's kind of mean to say. Let me back up there because I really started watching. I think I like really started paying attention to the WNBA right before the Olympics. Like that whole July stretch, maybe even the end of June. Like I was watching before that, but when I really started locking in was probably early July, late June. Mm-hmm. And every time I watched Breanna Stewart, or anytime I watched the Liberty, I felt more impressed by Sabrina.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see it with Breanna Stewart from what I had heard before I was even a casual observer. You know, I'd heard more about her than Asia Wilson. I probably heard about her more than 98% of the players, honestly. 99% of the players.
Like, other than Maya Moore, Taurasi.
Sure.
Like, those are your couple. Sure. I mean, other than the other UConn greats that are at her level. Like Candace Parker.
And, you know, when I see her play, and I mentioned this to you recently, and it's partly because of how much talent they have on their team. Yep. It seems she really focuses 15 and in. She's not as ISO as I thought. Mm-hmm. But she definitely has the ISO game.
Yep.
And I've kind of been saying, somewhat facetiously, because I hadn't really watched enough at that time, that I would take Nafisa over Breanna Stewart. But really, it was just me being unimpressed with Breanna Stewart compared to Sabrina, compared to Jonquel. I very much am fans of their games. Yep. Not saying I'm not a fan of Breanna Stewart, because she does have some dog to her, but just wasn't impressed. Mm-hmm. Even more so now that she misses a foul shot to win game 1, because what, it would have been 0.8 left in regulation?
It would have been 0.8. It would have been a very tough ask.
Makes the front end, misses the second one, doesn't brick it, so whatever, okay.
In and out.
Then in overtime, she's got a nice drive. She's got a step on Nafisa. Nafisa was locking her up. She finally gets a step on her, which, by the way, Liberty should have been doing all they could to get Nafisa off of Breanna Stewart. Oh, yeah. They should have been setting screens to get her off, or just kind of away from her. Run the offense through Sabrina and Jonquel. A little pick and roll action, pick and pop even. She gets a step on Nafisa, gets all the way to the rim, and instead of going up with her left, I guess that's fine. Goes up with her right, but I don't even think she got rim on that. I think it was just the back.
It was long. It was a layup long, and you don't typically see layups long.
It looked like, I mean, because her airspace was, you know, everyone was closer to her shooting hand. Seems like if she goes up with her left there, at least has a better chance of going in. Yeah. Either way, you got to finish that if she's a 2 or 3-time MVP.
She's a 2-time MVP, 2-time champion. I mean...
Prove me wrong, Breanna Stewart. That's all I'm saying. Prove me wrong.
Breanna's... And she averages... I think she has
Stewie.
Stewie, you hate that nickname so much.
Not a fan of the nickname Stewie.
You don't...
But, hey, I'm not a fan of, I would say, at least 85% of nicknames now. They're pretty lazy. Like Stewie.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, she has her shoe lines of Stewie's. I don't know if she had...
I did not know that.
Oh, she had Puma. She's under Puma.
I'll check them out. That's the lamest fucking name I've ever heard.
The Stewie ones, the Stewie 2s. There's a couple colorways that aren't bad. Like, the shoes, I've seen worse, but they're not great. Like, she's definitely upstaged by Sabrina, because Sabrina honestly has shoes better than 95% of the men, honestly.
I would rock Sabrina's for sure.
Like, Sabrina's shoe is up there with a lot of... I feel like they took the Kobe's and, like, modified it a little and, like, hey,
they're pretty much in the Kobe Kyrie thing.
Which is great, because the Kobe's are great. So it was like, classics. Hey, let's just take those for you here and go.
But my thing is, now if we just started calling Sabrina Brina, and, like, we, like, acted like that shit was just, like, the flyest nickname ever, and then called them the Brina ones, we'd be like, that's just fucking lazy. That's my thing with Stewie. And the fact that That's a very common nickname, I'm sure, for people with the last name or first name Stewart or something in that vein.
Stewie Griffin.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of when, like, I see Stewie. I think that's her Twitter handle name, and I'm like, that ain't that cool of a nickname. I'm a hater. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day. Apparently, I'm a hater of Breanna Stewart. Not really. But not really. We respect her game, but
it's fine.
Prove me wrong, Breanna Stewart. Stewie. I did not expect to spend 10 minutes on WNBA.
No, I didn't expect to either, but hey, it deserves it. The season's been great.
It's been fun.
Obviously, thanks to everybody, Caitlin Clark there, Angel Reese, and then all the other rookies who have been great to add the visuals, but then obviously you have to thank people like Arike who can go off for 30 in the second half of an All-Star game, and people like that who actually keep the game fun. So
I can't wait for this offseason. I will say that. I think this is going to be easily the most paid attention that WNBA is going to get from the offseason, from casual fans.
And speaking of Nafisa and speaking of Breanna, they have their joint 3-on-3. That league starts in January, so both of them are putting that together. So
I wonder if that's going to be televised or what.
It should be televised, and I know they're getting it's a lot of it, so you don't have to leave. And then Paige Beckers already has stock in that, so when she plays next year in that WNBA, she's going to be there too. Caitlin's not, because Caitlin's trying to become a golfer over the summer. She's really Steph. Caitlin's trying to go.
I saw that she said she had no plans to play any basketball, which I get. She's been playing
for a year straight.
At least a year straight, right?
So she's trying to go play. I think what I've seen, she's trying to join like a small tour.
Interesting.
Shout out to her, because she's really trying to be Steph. I mean, not in a bad way, but like, she's really trying to go full Steph, which I'm fine with, because when you're that great of an athlete, you can go jump over somewhere else.
And their commissioner heard me talking, because best of 7 next year for the finals. They changed.
They switched the playoff first round
format, right?
Yeah, instead of it being 2-1, which I thought was weird.
Go 1-1-1.
It was 1-1-1, which makes way more sense, because like in one sense, you're the higher seed, and say it gets to a game 3, the higher seeds or the lower seed was on the road. So like if the Fever would have beat the Sun in game 2, the Fever would have had a home game 3 for the series. And it's like, okay.
I do kind of understand it from the higher seed, lower seed perspective, because
if you get two at home, get them out of there real quick, and if not, you don't deserve it. But like, it's kind of, because now we got, not that we got robbed, but like, now we gotta wait a whole year to get an Indiana Fever playoff crowd. Because I would have loved to have seen that this year.
I love their home crowd.
Yeah, their home crowd treated every game like a playoff game. I could only imagine what a playoff game would have been like.
So, I wish they would go best of 5, best of 5, best of 7. I would prefer that.
I think they might they might move to that when they get more teams, because obviously you've got the Golden State team coming in this year, and then next year you've got the Portland team and the Toronto team coming in. So they got 3 teams in the next couple years.
Get Boston and Philly team. Get that Boston, Connecticut. I've heard there's a thing where, because that Connecticut team is there, that there'll never be a Boston team. But man, there's a market for it. They had that Sun versus Sparks game in August, and it sold out, and the atmosphere was insane. So, I mean, maybe you just have some games at TD over the summer. Maybe that's the way. But man, it seems like Boston should have a team. Yep. Philadelphia should definitely have a team.
I would love.
And they increased to 44 games as well.
Yes.
Outside of 40.
So it's good. It's growth things here. Get to 20 teams in the league, be a perfect number, and then get to 5, 5, 7. And then once you do that, you're well on your way.
And real quick.
Yeah.
I've been watching a little bit more postseason baseball, which I usually do around this time. I try to just like keep it on, not really pay attention to it, but because I'm kind of invested in Ohtani. I really want to see him do well, and I've always kind of liked the Dodgers as my NL team, even when I was an actual Sox fan back in the day. But I've kind of adopted them, and of course Ohtani. And man, there is nothing like postseason baseball. The in-between pitches, just the camera work when they're going from the pitcher to the batter to the crowd, and like, it's fall, it's cold out. There's nothing like postseason baseball, and I kind of forgot about that. And there's nothing like it. Just that intensity and that anxiety in between pitches.
Yeah.
You can't really simulate that in any other sport, really.
No, because obviously, like, the huddle, like in football per se, because that's the longest between plays you typically will get in, like, another sport. So, like, what you'll see in football, the anticipation, if it's, like, late in game or whatnot, you go to the huddle, you're showing the replay, they're breaking the huddle, you're kind of watching it unfold. Like, when you're watching football, especially in those late game situations or certain situations, the game can almost feel fast-paced because of, like, how they cut to everything. But with baseball, it's like, you look at the batter here, you pan to the crowd looks like this, what's going to happen. The pitcher's just like, no, yes, calling his signal, what he's going to throw. So the anticipation built for every single pitch, especially when it's late game and you have someone like Ohtani at the plate, or old for us, when you have David Ortiz at the plate, Manny Ramirez, players like Johnny Damon was a big guy. So
I also forgot, like, if you don't have guys on base, if you're the hitting team,
yeah,
and if you, let's just say, even if it's a quick 1-2-3 inning, it really feels like the pitchers have the advantage. It really feels like if you don't string together hits, like, at all, or like at least consecutively, that you're gonna go through a drought, really. Yep. You know what I mean? I forgot about that feeling, and it feels that way for both teams, unless it's one of those, a shootout in football. But you know what I mean? Unless it's like an 8 to 9 game, 7 to 5 type game, it really feels like hitting is, just scarce. It's weird. It's weird.
It is very weird. It is very weird. The only thing I don't love is obvious. The thing I do love is the fact that, like, you're not afraid to go to a starting pitcher in relief because of the fact that you want your best pitchers pitching. But I don't always. Today's baseball is a little different, and you never get.
Because they pull them after like 5 innings anyway.
Like, you would love. Obviously, if you have, say, just because we're still Red Sox guys, Pedro Martinez, if you have him on the mound, it's like we're letting him pitch at least 7. Unless he's getting waxed, he's pitching at least 7, so we don't have to worry about anything else.
6, he's at least getting 7.
He's like Kurt Schilling. The goal is to get to 7. I feel like today the goal is to get to 5.
I feel like I forget which game I had on. Doesn't really matter, but they took their starting pitcher out after the 5th, and there was like no reason to. Mm-hmm. And Yu Darvish, who pitches for the Padres, who apparently has a good history against the Dodgers. I think he even used to play for the Dodgers, if I remember correctly.
He did.
I think he pitched in Game 2 or Game 3, and they had him pitch Game 5, and he went at least 7. So they went old school with that, and I appreciated that. They put him on the mound for a Game 5 on short rest. So
that's what you're supposed to do. You want your best players playing late in game. Like, that's what you want to do. It's like they have their version of load management where you're like, okay, we don't want this pitcher to get well over 200 innings. We don't want him to throw any more than like 90 pitches in a game. Like, we want to try to keep him below those. When you'll never again see a complete game 2-run game from a pitcher. You'll never see it again, because that used to be a thing where you'll never see a complete. You'll never see a pitcher go.
If you were gonna see it, it'd be in the postseason. It would have to be a special.
It would have to be a special pitcher. Like, in the regular season, you could see a Johan Santana.
Didn't someone pitch a no-hitter though a couple weeks ago?
You can, like, I think a complete game you can pitch, but say, like, if they allow a run. Okay. I mean, if they like
they got the short.
So if they Johan Santana could go a complete game out, and the team could score 2 runs on him, and they would be like, you know what, he's still dealing, we can have. That's not happening again. If you were pitching late into the 7th and 8th inning, it's because you've been dealing all game and you haven't allowed really anything. I would be shocked if I see like 130 pitches from a starter complete game and they win like 3-2. Like, I would be shocked. Unless it's the playoffs and they really need it and they're like, you know what, we're going to let. But even then, there's such an emphasis on the bullpen. And I was not expecting to talk baseball, but there's such an emphasis on the bullpen that I don't think they would do it.
I'll say this, bro. Do you have a Samsung TV?
Yes.
If you got a Samsung, you get Samsung TV Plus with it.
Yep.
And you get a variety of different channels, like a bunch of random channels, honestly.
Yeah.
And one of the channels is like an MLB channel, and it plays a lot of classic games. Mm-hmm. Anytime, if I happen to see that, like when I turn my TV on, or if I see a clip on YouTube or social media of like 90s or 2000s baseball, like when I was watching baseball.
Yeah.
It fucking brings me back. It makes me actually miss it. There was like a game, it was like a 96 Yankees game against some team. And Doc Gooden threw a no-hitter. And I actually like watched that for like 30 to 45 minutes and was like, it was cool to watch. I can't say that about regular season baseball now. It doesn't have a hold on you the way it used to. There had something about it that used to be cool that it lost within the last 15 years, and I really don't know what it is, because they have stars. I don't know if it's the strategy, because I think the NBA's lost its allure. I've talked about the NBA a lot. The NBA's lost some things in the player movement era, right?
Player movement, I think social media, I think the fact that they kind of gear it towards highlights, so you lose a little bit of like, I need to watch this game to game, because I'm like, I can just watch a minute and a half clip of John Morant scoring 28 and I feel like I watched the game.
For sure. And I don't think teenagers are watching basketball or the NBA specifically unless they're like a huge fan, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're locking into it maybe the way they do in the NFL. I don't know if kids watch the NFL either. But the NBA at least is still cool. You can still get people to talk about the NBA, like you said, without even watching a game.
Yeah. The
MLB does not have that. Even the way the UFC has that. Even the way even maybe boxing, which isn't as popular, still has that, maybe over baseball. It's super interesting. But Ohtani, if it ends up being Dodgers, Yankees...
Yeah, you need your stars winning, which is the problem. Like, so the biggest star before Ohtani's Mike Trout. Hasn't won anything. Like when you don't have your biggest stars winning, in my opinion, I think that's tough.
Let me counter that.
Yeah.
When Mike Trout was in the league, when he first came in, he was the best player pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it was
his first couple seasons.
Yeah.
He still wasn't the biggest star. Jeter and Poppy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Those were still your two biggest stars.
Absolutely.
And by the time they left, then you got Kershaw, but it just didn't seem to have the backing, because you still got Bryce Harper there. You still got Mike Trout there, who seems to get injured a lot. Mm-hmm. But Ohtani would be the one to put him over the top. Or if
Judge could do it.
Yankees and the Judge did their thing.
But like, if you think about it, Jeter, you think great defender, clutch hitter, champion. Think David Ortiz, clutch hitter, big time home run guy. You think champion, like you think, I don't know, like when I think of...
What's funny is a lot of baseball fans would say Jeter's not a good defender, or an average defender, they would say.
I feel like some bulls, I don't know, anyways. But to me, good defender, very good defender, but of course a very clutch hitter, a very clutch player, one of the best shortstops we've ever seen. And like a lot of it has to do with winning. I don't think you can be... It's hard to captivate people with your greatness if you're not winning.
It's winning, but there was real stars.
Oh yeah, there was something. Of course.
There was something about, even if it was Manny Ramirez, who couldn't like. It's not like these guys were like super nice with the English language. You know, when they first get in the league, Manny and Poppy and even Pedro. Pedro obviously can speak English well, but you know, it's not like they're the most marketable of stars. And even then, it had a hold. Same with the NHL. I mean, I don't know. The NHL was probably definitely bigger in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
Enough to where they called it the fourth major sport. I really don't
bigger
know.
In the 80s, like the 20th century, late 20th century. It was definitely bigger than it has been.
And you had Gretzky, but I mean, you know, someone like me and you who follow sports, I legitimately, Keenan, unless they were playing 10 years ago, I don't know if I can name you 10, certainly not 15 MLB players. I could try. Yeah, try. Judge. Yep. Giancarlo Stanton.
Yep.
I guess Kershaw, even though he was out for the year. Maybe he's retiring, so we'll count it. Ohtani. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Trout. Okay, I can name you 10. Mm-hmm. Harper. Fernando Tatis Jr.
Another Dodgers superstar.
So I got 7.
Another Dodgers superstar. I know you know this one.
Christian Yelich. He won MVP.
Yep.
Two more.
That's not the one. There's one.
Freddie Freeman.
Played for the Red Sox and then went to the Dodgers.
Mookie. Yeah, yep. I could give you 15. 15. Mookie. Alexander Bogarts. I give you 15.
Altuve. So like we know.
25 would be tough. All right.
25 would be tough when. And I agree with you, 25 would be tough. And back when I was like 2007, 2008, I could give you complete rosters, like top to bottom. Like for the most
I could at least, what I could give you, even when I was like half watching baseball back in the day, is I could give you like their number 8 hitter in the lineup, right? That's not Might not be the best hitter, might not even be, just their average player. I could give you that. I could give you some role players off the bench. I could give you some relief pitchers. I could never give you a relief pitcher now unless they formerly were like a great starter that no longer is. I could not give you a single reliever, and I think the only closer I could give you would be Chapman.
Yeah. The same.
I'm off the screen here. I gotta get that.
The screen. You're fine. The same way in the NFL, like in the NBA, I could give you, like, if there's like a 10th man and 11th man trade on just some random roster, I'll know. Like, we'll know who they are. And the same thing with the NFL. If you just have some random like fourth string receiver, it's like, oh, I absolutely know who that is, and he got traded there. It's like, oh, that could actually be a pivotal piece. I knew that stuff about baseball, where it'd be like secondary trades and be like, oh, that's actually gonna be big for them. Like, that's actually gonna be a big move. But yeah.
Real quick.
Yep.
We got 10 days before the NBA season, which is insane. Any thoughts? We talked about the Towns trade. Is there anything that has caught your eye in preseason so far, going into the season? Because I actually have only one thing, and maybe I should save it for our preseason prediction show.
I don't have too much yet. Because I've been doing like my whole Spurs thing with Digest Media, I've been paying attention to the Spurs, and Stephon Castle looks real nice. So the Spurs I've been paying attention to, and then I saw the Warriors put up 28 threes.
Plug that. Spurs Digest.
So shout out to Digest Media, Spurs Digest. Basically daily content on the Spurs trade rumors talks. It's me, a guy named Josh, and a guy named Brian, two other great guys. Josh does some work with the Commanders. He does some like reporting and other stuff there. You got Josh, who works with multiple channels or Digest Media, some hockey ones as well. But Digest Media, Spurs Digest, you search that there, you got that there.
YouTube?
It's just a YouTube show, so Spurs Digest on YouTube. Quick hitter videos, but they're fun and they're definitely very informative on daily Spurs content.
Quick plug. I like it.
Quick plug. But I've been paying attention because of that. Of course, I've been paying attention to the Spurs. I haven't paid attention to much else. I've seen like highlights here and there, but I haven't seen like full breakdowns. I've also been into college football a lot. A lot of college football, good stuff going on there, and then obviously the NFL's the NFL. So between the footballs, I haven't dove into basketball quite yet, but I'm definitely getting the itch seeing your regulars. And I didn't lose basketball because of the Olympics, because I was so excited to see LeBron and Steph on the same team, and obviously KD and everyone, so I still had my love for basketball. Then the WNBA kept me wanting to watch basketball. So like typically from July to October, I'm like, I don't even need to see a ball dribble really. But this summer it was basketball. So now I'm ready for the season. It feels like it's been so long since the NBA's been here.
Yeah, I'm ready. It really always depends to me on the off season or how the end of the last season goes.
Yeah.
But this one I'm ready for. Last year, if you remember us talking, when it came time for the NBA, I'm like, man, I could have waited till Thanksgiving or Christmas for the NBA. Mm-hmm. Like, the NFL is just consuming me right now.
Yep.
And just the NFL, I think, had better storylines. Like, I don't remember the exact storylines going into last year, but I think the NFL was more interesting. This year, there's a lot of storylines. There's a lot of just quality players, obviously. And we just had the Towns trade. I just think, and we'll see. We'll see how load management goes, and we'll see how the in-season tournament goes, but it feels like there's a nice reset in the league.
Yep.
Seems like we could have some balance for a little while. Seems like players are going to be where they're going to be. Of course, there's probably going to be a star that moves sometime during the season. Could be a lower level star, but for the most part, like, it seems like we're set. And it seems like we're really going to see something here in the East between the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Bucks, Cleveland. Like, you got a good 5-6 teams, and then it drops off.
Shout out Orlando, because they can definitely make a next step, and then obviously the Pacers there too, but they're on those two are like the kind of next-ish level. I would agree with you. There's the 4, and then I think between Cleveland's like almost in the middle, and then there's Orlando and the Indiana right now for what we foresee. We'll see how obviously the season plays out.
Cleveland is crazy to me because they could trade Jared Allen and Garland as a package and get something real back. Like, you could get a real player back to go with Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, and then you're good, right? I don't know what their bench looks like. They're not the deepest team, but they're not the worst team.
Obviously, as a shooter to stretch the floor, but they've got
two right there, two real pieces. If you want to break up the Mitchell Garland thing, and if you want to move Mobley to the 5, That's 2 legitimate pieces to get something back.
I'm trying to think what they can even get. Steph.
It's hard. Yeah, I've heard it's great.
I think it's no. Like I'm just trying to go through like the teams that would even make remote sense for them to like move off of a big piece right now. That actually be in a situation. And
go get Kevin Durant.
That actually like Kevin Durant would make.
I don't know if that financially makes sense anymore. I don't know how.
I think it would. I think it would because between Jared Allen and Darius Garland, I think their contract would equal close to Kevin Durant. I think you could throw in pieces, but I mean, I think that wouldn't even be bad for the Suns because you would have Garland, Book, Beal, Jared Allen, Grayson Allen. Like obviously, you have a lot of guards, but. Still, I don't even think that'd be that terrible for them. But then obviously Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell would make the Cavs an instant top 4 team.
Weird. Remember that if KD played in Cleveland where LeBron?
Oh yeah,
that'd be very weird.
That'd be
automatically the second greatest small forward that played for the Cavs. He actually. So I saw a clip. I don't know if you saw this, but he scored 21 on one dribble the other day.
No, I didn't see him go
Klay Thompson. He just.
I didn't see him go Klay Thompson.
KD. I'll say this, man. We say this about Bron all the time. I'm going to say this about KD and Steph, too. Appreciate them while they're here. Yeah. We don't know how much longer they will be in the league. It could end. We saw with Kobe, torn Achilles, just like that. So, appreciate them while they're here. And go ahead.
No, I was about to say, the way Tom Brady made playing into your 40s common, like, oh, you should have a quarterback who's 38, 39 playing very well. LeBron's done that, like, okay, 38 and 39 because we think are recent. Go through the history, players 36, 37 around that age, they're not this good. There have really never been seasons other than LeBron that are going to be the seasons what we're going to see from Durant and Steph, whether if they're healthy. So like that, the thing with these, they're breaking precedents right now, the same way Brady did, and then you saw Breeze. Obviously, Rodgers is not a little down now. We're about to get into football, but Rodgers is a little down now. But even then, won an MVP at 38. So like you don't see all those as often, but it's in our mind that you see it more. But so as Kyle's saying, appreciate the fact that these guys are this lethal still at this age because it's not common.
Players seem to be taking care of themselves more in a way. Well, Brady and Bron do it manically, maniacally, I should say. But also with the NFL, especially with the quarterbacks, and then in the NBA, we'll see with the NBA, but it's gotten a lot less physical to where you can keep up. We saw with the NBA where it is much more physical. In the second half of last year. We'll see if that keeps up. I hope it does. And of course, the NFL in general is super physical, but at least at the quarterback position, it does seem, because roughing the passer, I mean, all you got to do is get touched in the head, it seems. You can prolong your career in that regard as a quarterback compared to position players. Last thing with the NBA, I want to say that really has caught my eye. 2 things in particular. Kawhi, we don't even know if he's going to suit up for the season opener. I just don't know what the hell the rest of his career is going to look like and how long he's going to still be in the league or why he's even still in the league.
There's no point.
It's going to be constant swelling and constant managing of your knee swelling.
There's no point for him to be in the league. There's no point. I mean, and I don't mean for like he's not good enough to play. He's clearly good enough to play. He was All-NBA second team last year, but like, what is he to prove at this point? Like, his body's just betraying him. Like, he can go just fine. One thing I do want to mention, kind of sidebar, on the Spurs show I did, there was like a report that came out that was talking about Kawhi Leonard, possibly like one of like the trade rumors things, like, what about Kawhi Leonard going back to the Spurs? I've never seen an entire community hate something more than that's Kawhi Leonard back to the Spurs. Oh, yeah. They, like... their comments.
He's public enemy number 1.
Oh yeah, no. And the comments was like, never want to see this. Absolutely not. Don't care. Don't talk about Kawhi. Like bringing up his name was like so foreign, and it made me think. I was like, wait, this is what like a community feels of hatred. It's like just this guy is hated in San Antonio, and it was kind of funny to see because the trade made sense of what it was like. Keldon Johnson, a few picks, and Zach Collins contractual, and then it'd be for Kawhi Leonard. And obviously, if Kawhi's healthy, you'd get Kawhi, Chris Paul, Wemby, others. But it just made me laugh thinking about everyone just hating on Kawhi Leonard. But
well,
yeah,
quiet is kept. So LeBron and Aaron Rodgers, who we will talk about, coach killers. You can't convince me that Aaron Rodgers didn't have anything to do with solid skin of fire.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've seen LeBron do that 3, 4, 5 times in the NBA. Quiet is kept. LeBron's for sure a diva. Like, if you're... I don't think there's anyone out there who would defend that LeBron is not a diva.
I think LeBron himself might call himself a diva.
He might.
At this point, like, he might not call himself a coach killer, but he'd definitely call himself a diva.
Quiet is kept. Number 2 in that category, maybe even number 1 over LeBron, would be Kawhi. He keeps franchises hostage with his injury situations. He literally does not tell these teams. I mean, that's why the Spurs hate him. He kept the Spurs completely in the dark about his injury. He's kept the Clippers completely in the dark about his injuries, even to the point where it'll be before game day, a day before game day, 24 hours before game day. Going into the game day, they still don't know if he's playing or if he's not. He has no contact with the team. But Kawhi's so quiet and keeps such a low profile, and he's got this mystique to him. He doesn't get branded a diva like LeBron does. Mm-hmm. Granted, we all see it play out in the media with LeBron, and that's a whole different situation, a whole different circus. But Kawhi has really kept that diva banner away from him when he is easily, I would say...
top 3.
Easily, it's if Ron's 1 for sure, if we're giving LeBron 1, Kawhi's for sure got to be number 2.
He's got to be 2, and then I'd probably, off the top of my head, Harden would have to be in that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You know what? Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Harden's up there, too.
I would say, though, like, those are your 3.
Somehow forgot about Harden.
No, those are your 3, just because Harden,
That's
whenever...
the big 3.
I was going to say, when Harden's not happy with the situation, he's going to get fat and leave it.
There was...
That's what he's going to get fat and leave it.
There was a time maybe where Kyrie would have said "motherfuck the big 3." It's just big me with the diva thing. But he's cooled off on it.
Yeah, sabbatical Kyrie is no longer here, so
he's cooled off.
Please don't bring sabbatical Kyrie back. Just continue to be.
I think Kyrie's grown.
No, I do too, and I love it. Like, I understand you can have your opinions on the Earth still being flat. That's fine.
James Harden, on the other hand, is delusional and still thinks, like, he said something about.
Still thinks he's one of them.
He said something about, like, the way Luka plays offense, which is how Harden used to play for Houston, where the ball just is completely in his hands. That, like, that's what the Clippers should do, and that's what he's looking forward to doing now. And I don't know if that's a good recipe for anybody. Last thing with the NBA that I was going to say, we're talking Spurs. Yep. We talked when I was supposed to be bringing you guys to your rental car. That did not happen, clearly. We were talking about Wemby and his season, and I could save this for next week, but it's really not giving anything away. No. I think we said... What did we say? He averaged 21 last year, and I think we said we could get to 27.
He was 21, 10.6 rebounds, and like 3.6 blocks. This was under 30 minutes, 29.7. And his per 36 were like 26, 12.5 with like 4.5 blocks. That was what we were saying. He could pretty much get to his per 36 in like 31 minutes, 32 minutes this year.
So I seen one highlight reel of Wemby from one of his games in this preseason. It was like maybe 3 plays, maybe 4 plays. Mm-hmm. Only one of them involved Chris Paul. So I've only seen one highlight involving him and Chris Paul. Yeah, and this is what I'm about to base what I'm about to say off of. Mm-hmm. I think Wemby gets to 30 this year.
I love it.
I truly do.
I love it.
I truly do.
I'm going to let you know right now, if Wemby averages 30 a game, that means the Spurs are winning, and I'm going to be going nuts. Hashtag Spurs Digest. I'm going to be going insane. And we're going to leave it there for basketball, unless you have something else you need to add.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to make this a part 1, and then you're going to click on part 2 in YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and that will be our NFL pick. So we're going to end this right now. We're going to wrap this up. We'll title this something like, I don't know, General Sports Talk, WNBA. We'll name it something flat. But this was part 1. We'll be back. Like, subscribe, all that shit. Follow Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Warner Brothas Podcast. We will be right back.